how would you address the problems, the struggles, the offensive struggles moving forward? And I don't think Brian Kelly would have been so mad at that question.
And if he gets mad at that, then it's like, whoa, calm down there, big shot. Let's take it easy.
Yeah, exactly. It does seem like it was rage bait a little bit. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Zain Bando. That's Will Charlton. This is another edition of Forever Power 5. You can follow us across social media at FP5ETB and at Forever on Twitter and Instagram and at Forever Power 5. One word, no spaces or capitals on TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick DiMart, Will at Will Charlton H13 on Twitter, and Zan at Zain Bando 99. You can watch all Empty the Bench shows on YouTube.com/ETB Network. You can listen to all Empty the Bench shows wherever you get your podcasts, and this podcast is presented by Playback. Stay tuned for later in the show to find out more. All right, so how are you guys doing today?
Doing great, man.
Well, you're having a better week than Notre Dame.
Yeah, geez. Probably.
Notre
Texas
Dame.
A&M, revenge game.
Yeah, Notre Dame is now 0-2. I will say this is a really good 0-2 team. Notre Dame, like the best 0-2 team probably ever, I would say, or at least that I can remember. Very good 0-2 team. Notre Dame losing a heartbreaker to Texas A&M. They lost a game that they obviously should have won. They lost the game.
Yeah.
First of all, that play, there were two really major things in that game that caused Notre Dame to lose. One of them, obviously, was the Tyler Buchner dropped snap on an extra point.
That just can't happen.
And I didn't even realize Tyler Buchner went back to Notre Dame.
Right?
He went. I actually looked it up. He went back because he was the quarterback 2 years ago. He actually went back to Notre Dame as a lacrosse player.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
and then
that's what I thought.
On the football team.
That's what I thought. Okay, because I was gonna say, didn't he go play lacrosse somewhere? Yeah.
And he dropped. And I think he's a wide receiver now. Actually, he's not even a quarterback.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I didn't even know the guy was on the team. He dropped that snap that killed him. And the other, if you look at this game, I thought it would be pretty offensive, a pretty offensive game. It was even more of an offensive game than I thought it would be. Texas A&M, they gave up a lot of really big plays against Texas A&M. And I think Texas A&M's offense is a little better than maybe we have anticipated. But I also think it says a lot about Notre Dame. It says a lot about Notre Dame that Marcel Reed was able to carve them up the way they did. I think it says a bit about Texas A&M's offense, but I feel like Texas A&M always has these moments where they look really great and then they look terrible. Marcel Reed last year looked great at some points, but he was inconsistent. And look, I'm not trying to take anything away from Marcel Reed, who had a really big game and they made some really big plays, but he also went 17 for 37.
Right.
He wasn't really
not exactly efficient.
Right. The passing game from Texas A&M was not efficient, certainly in a completion percentage standpoint. They were efficient in terms of,
but he's still at 360 yards. So.
Right. Like the completions that they made, a lot of them were really big in terms of yardage, but it wasn't like Marcel Reed was overwhelmingly accurate. I mean, a quarterback who completes less than 50% of his passes is not accurate, and they threw the ball a lot. They were really airing it out, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame was just never able to stop them. I mean, I don't think Texas A&M will ever score 40 points again. I mean, I'm pretty sure they got all their non-conference games out the way, but I don't even think they're going to put up 40 points. Probably not in the SEC. Unless maybe
they got at least one more, because the SEC is still playing 8 games, so they got at least one more non-con. I don't know who it's against, though.
You're right. Maybe they play the Citadel or some culinary school after Thanksgiving.
Here, I'll look it up and I'll tell you what it is right now. Samford. They play Samford. Yeah, the second last Saturday of the season. They play Samford.
So outside of Sanford, Texas A&M is probably not going to put up 40 points again.
No.
And they went into South Bend and did it, which I think is a bit of a concern for Notre Dame. Again, not taking anything away from Texas A&M, but Texas A&M is not supposed to put up 40 points. Like, that is a little bit much. And
I agree.
In terms of, I mean, I'll get to you, Zain, because you haven't said anything yet. But I wanted to know, like, what was your reaction to this wild game?
Well, my reaction was the fact that it was definitely fascinating to see what A&M was able to do in a hostile environment. I think Marcel Reed did really well that last drive of the game, and I think they just took away all the outside noise, all the stuff about them being pretty significant underdogs, saying this was going to be the game that was going to get Notre Dame back on its horse and stuff, and that Notre Dame was going to have little to no issue against an A&M team, other that I think a lot of people still believe is an upstart team, a team that really doesn't have a full identity. This team not only showed that they have an identity, they showed they had an identity and then some. And this was for sure a signature win. Again, the biggest win that they probably had in about a decade or so. So I think there's a lot to be excited about down there. And this was, I think, the start of a potentially special year, because now you look at every single one of their games from here on out, and the pressure is only going to get larger. And of course, if the rankings stay similarly to what they are now, that game against LSU, October 25th in Baton Rouge, is going to be massive. That's a de facto college football playoff elimination game if I've ever seen one. So their season just went from there might be something really interesting to they might actually be able to compete. So I was overall really impressed, and I honestly think Notre Dame just beat themselves. They had drives where they could have put the game away, they couldn't do it, and this loss I think is more on Marcus Freeman than anything else. I think their clock management at the end of the game just sucked. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and I think that Notre Dame now officially has no more room for error the rest of the season. They have no more room for error. They have to win out if they want to make the college football playoff. You're not going to get in at 9-3 being Notre Dame without being a conference champion. It's just not going to happen, because the rest of the way, I mean, I don't. And also, wasn't this Texas A&M's first ranked road win since like 2014 or something like that?
That's what made the win so huge. Yeah.
Right. So honestly, great for Texas A&M. But I look at Notre Dame's schedule, and outside of USC, who's only 25 right now, they don't play another ranked opponent the rest of the year. No, but here's the thing. They also play at an Arkansas team. If you lose that game, your playoff hopes are done. Like, you lose one more game, Notre Dame is not making the college football playoff, because you had two chances to pretty much solidify yourself with a big win, so to say. And you lost
with a big resume type win.
Exactly. And I know they didn't really light it up in that sense last year a lot, because, I mean, they lost that one to Northern Illinois, but they still found a way to make it to the national championship game.
By winning out.
Right, exactly. And they beat Texas A&M on the road last year too, so that was kind of like the big one for the resume.
that was the quiet before the storm. That was the week before they ended up losing to Northern Illinois. And the thing is that I think that the reaction from the media and from the public to the Northern Illinois loss was so much greater. Like, it was mass hysteria when Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. It was all anybody was talking about. It was all Paul Feinbaum was talking about. It was all they talked about on ESPN. Or at least in terms of college football, all they talked about.
Yeah, but mass hysteria. But look at how Northern Illinois wasn't even the same team after that.
No, they ended up going 6-6. Yeah, they went 6-6 last year, or something like that. They didn't win their bowl game.
Okay, I'll tell you what the 2024 Northern Illinois team reminds me of. Johan Santana.
Okay.
Johan Santana threw the no-hitter for the Mets, the first ever, which would have been a one-hitter they had instant replay at the time. I don't know if you guys remember, but Johan Santana threw a no-hitter for the Mets, first ever, huge deal. And then his career was just over after the no-hitter. That's what Northern Illinois was against Notre Dame. They beat Notre Dame, and then they just stunk after that. I guess they had a high that lasted the entire season that they were just never able to get back to. But one thing I noticed last year against Northern Illinois is that there was such a greater reaction to it.
Huge reactions. Huge.
Than Notre Dame going 0-2 now. And people were saying, like, it was the overwhelming popular opinion, which I didn't hold, but it was overwhelmingly popular that Notre Dame's playoff hopes were over after losing to Northern Illinois. And they obviously...
that was such a overreaction.
Right. Like, people overreacted to it. But people, I think, are underreacting a little bit to Notre Dame, relatively speaking, going 0-2 starting the season, because the thing with Notre Dame is that their schedule, the thing with Notre Dame is that they're like an independent team that plays an ACC schedule. Right. So their schedule is easy, but it doesn't do them any favors because it leaves them no room for error.
But you finish 10-2.
But the fact that they're an independent team is a big problem for them, because at least if you look at a team like Clemson, who also has 2 losses, but at least, and also has a similar type of schedule to Notre Dame, at least they have a path. If they win the ACC, they're getting in. Notre Dame doesn't have that path. They don't have a path. No, they don't control their own destiny.
There's no automatic bid. Exactly.
No, they don't. You're right.
Now, I do think the problem with college football fans and the media, the college football media, is we have a lot of them have short-term memory, and sometimes when a team, it's not just Notre Dame, but when a team like slips up, they step in a landmine against an inferior team, or in this case, it's not even that inferior, but whenever they lose a game they should win, it feels like that's the only team it's going to happen to. But in reality, it's going to happen to a whole lot of teams. It's going to happen, especially in the SEC. It's going to happen a whole lot. So people forget that. So let's just not forget that, look, Notre Dame's not the only team who's going to lose games that they should probably win. It's going to happen a lot. It's going to happen in the SEC. It's probably going to happen to Georgia. It already happened to Alabama. It's likely going to happen again. It just kind of happened.
Well, I guess we'll see how Florida State shakes out. I don't know if you should say Alabama should have won that game at this point.
Yeah. So, the point I'm making is that they looked bad. So
at the time, sure, but
right. So it's likely going to happen to a whole bunch of other teams. So let's not overreact in that sense. Notre Dame's hopes are not over.
Oh, no. You win out. You're gonna be somewhere between the 7 and 10 seed. Maybe even the 6 seed, maybe.
And by the way, Notre Dame pulling out 10 straight wins is not crazy. They're favored in all those games by at least a touchdown.
I mean, I look at their schedule, and frankly, they probably should win all 10 of them. The only one that there's only 2 that I see, and that slightly concern me with how they started. But even at that, they've had 2 games against teams they definitely should have beat. Miami. I don't know if you say they should have won that game. It seemed like they were going to on the back end of it. Texas A&M, they should have won that game. Texas A&M, they should have won that game. But they'll beat Purdue. Arkansas, you don't know. They'll beat Boise State. They'll beat NC State. They should beat USC at home. Boston College on the road, probably not that hard. Navy at home, they'll win that. At Pitt, probably shouldn't be that hard. Versus Syracuse at home, they should win. At Stanford, they should win that. So, frankly, they'll be favored in every one of these games coming up the rest of the way.
Well, Notre Dame is the type of team that really gets it together when they're under a lot of pressure.
It's true.
I would compare it to cramming for a last-minute homework assignment. You know how in the when you wait, in college, if you had a homework assignment due at midnight and you started,
they had no business going to the title game last year. They had no business going to the title game last year.
What's that?
They had no business going to the title game last year.
No, but the point is that they were the team. Notre Dame is a team that crams for the test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They end up getting way behind in the start of the season, and then they end up being really efficient after that, which is it's so similar to what Ohio State did too, by the way, last season. Mm-hmm. But Notre Dame tends to do that a lot. So don't forget that. But I will say this: the thing with Notre Dame's schedule is that, like I said, it's easy, but it's not as easy as you think. And going on the road to play Pitt, playing USC, going on the road to play Arkansas, those games are a little harder than people might believe.
Oh, sure.
But if Notre Dame wins them, they're not going to get a whole lot of credit, except maybe the USC win, depending on how
you should have beat them. You should have beat them.
Yeah.
You're a favorite. You should have won the game.
Yeah. So that's the other issue that Notre Dame has. Now, we do have to talk about the no call at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the 4th down play, and the refs didn't call a holding.
No.
On Texas
Pretty
A&M.
blatant, too. Pretty damn
It
blatant.
was.
Yeah, I think they blew it. They blew it.
It was such a blatant hold. Now, I'm
one
not
hell of a
just
catch
gonna-
by Texas A&M, but
Right. Now, I'm not just going to sit here and blame the refs. I am not a blame the refs guy. There's a whole lot Notre Dame could have done differently that they should have won the game. The refs did not make Tyler
or
Buckner.
at least force overtime.
Right. But I am a big believer that the game should be called consistently. I feel that way in every
I'm a believer in that too. At all levels of football.
I feel that way in every sport. An umpire should have their strike zone be the same the whole game. Basketball, if you call basketball, whatever, what fouls you're going to call, keep it consistent. Same thing in football. If I am not a believer that where you say, well, in a spot like that, you can't call it. That's ridiculous. The game is the same game, 60 minutes. That's it. Like if it's within the 60 minutes of the game, it should be called. And if you would have called that in the first quarter, I don't care if it's the last play of the game. You should call it then too. I understand if it's like a 50-50, I don't know, maybe I call it, maybe I don't. But in this case, it was so blatant. I mean, it wasn't even a hold. The guy freaking tackled him.
Literally.
The Notre Dame defensive tackle, I think, the defensive player beat the offensive lineman, and the offensive lineman flat out tackled him. And the refs swallowed their whistle because it was a 4th down play. You can't do that. That is a huge issue. And like I said, I'm not a blame the refs guy. Notre Dame should have won that game regardless, but like I can't ignore that. Like I can't just not say something about that.
Yeah, it's just you look at that play and it's just one of those deals that I just don't get how you don't call that penalty. Like obviously granted to Texas A&M, like I can't remember what tight end made the catch there. One hell of a catch, like I said, but it's just if you're gonna call the inconsistent like you've been talking about, it has to be thrown there. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this because that was the play of the game. That was the play of the game, and you didn't even give the defensive tackle a chance to pressure Marcel Reed. They didn't give him a chance, and it wasn't thrown. So I don't know what they saw. I guess didn't see, but everyone. And obviously you two as well, everyone saw that it was a blatant holding. And that would have made it 4th and 20 from
4th and 20
25 or something like that.
Or 26.
Yeah. So
with the game on the line.
It makes it essentially a pseudo Hail Mary at that point.
Right, exactly. Which probably would have gone incomplete and they lose.
Exactly.
Probably
So Notre Dame is a no flag away from being 1-1. And granted, they could have, like you guys have been talking about, they could have won the game as it was and should have, but they didn't. And because of a no call, they're 0-2.
I do think Notre Dame did let A&M hang around a little bit too long, though.
I mean, wasn't it 21-7 Notre Dame early?
Mid-second quarter. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
They let them hang around way too long.
At that point, I was like,
well,
because Texas A&M scored 21 points in the second quarter. That's right. Yeah, 3 touchdowns in the second quarter.
Well, staying in the SEC, talking about letting teams hang around. Tennessee blows it against Georgia. I know Scott Van Pelt. Scott Van Pelt has his bad beat segment on Sports Center.
One of my favorite segments per week.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
This, I think I would like to have a spin-off of that segment and call it a bad beat close call. This was a bad beat close call that was avoided. I didn't care because Tennessee were 3.5 point favorites. 3.5 point underdogs.
We picked them to cover, so they covered.
Yeah, I think all of us picked them to cover, so they covered. So I was super happy about it.
Right.
But this was a bad beat close call, and honestly, I feel like if the coin toss went in the opposite direction, we'd be having a different conversation, and Georgia would have ended up covering the spread. This was, I guess, the way this game ended was very predictable. It was very predictable. Tennessee was winning most of the game, and then they just let Georgia hang around. They were up 38-30, and Georgia marches down the field and scores a touchdown and gets the 2-point conversion. And then Tennessee has that. They have that. Max Gilbert has that chip shot of a field goal that he misses.
It wasn't a chip shot to win the game.
Well, it wasn't a chip shot, but
it was like a 40-yarder. But still, it wasn't even close.
It wasn't. I feel like from the way
I saw a video of on X of a crowd shot of it, and they were all cheering because he thought he hit it. And then
that was like, crazy.
No, he missed it. Yeah. And then they all were like,
I thought the game was going to be put away right then and there. I thought the game was going to be put away right then and there. And then Josh Heupel probably shouldn't have run a play on that third down beforehand, which made the field goal kick longer. That was also
right. Yeah, I don't know why they were trying to respot the ball. That was kind of silly.
It was, the whole thing was just stupid. And Georgia, and the thing is, Georgia, they're just a resilient team. They're not
Kirby Smart for you. That's a Kirby Smart coach team for you.
I mean, it wasn't without a little bit of luck from Tennessee screwing it up.
Sure, yeah.
It had to do with that too, but I guess ultimately Kirby Smart managed the game better than Josh Heupel did. Now, both quarterbacks played really well. Gunnar Stockton and Joey Aguilar both played really well in that game. And the thing with Tennessee, the thing with Georgia is that they're a complicated team, or at least they were a complicated team last year. They lost a lot of games and that they should have won against inferior teams. They almost lost a lot of games that they should have won by a lot more, namely Georgia Tech. But they beat the best teams. Like, they beat the teams at the top of the SEC. They beat Tennessee by a lot. They beat Texas on the road by a lot, and then beat them in the SEC championship game. And
without their starting quarterback,
without Carson Beck. So, I don't know what it is with Georgia, but they just show up to play when they're against the top teams. I don't take back anything I said about their offense. Like, it's still a little bit of a concern, but I don't know. The SEC is just in a weird place. It's a weird place. The post NIL era, or an expanded playoff team, like this new era of college, in this new era of college football, the SEC is just a really difficult conference to figure out. Like, the Big Ten,
unpredictable. Unpredictable.
Like, the Big Ten to me, I think is simple. You know what I mean? The Big 12 is kind of not simple, but like the Big Ten to me, I think is simple. You got
it's top heavy,
right? You got Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon, and then you have Michigan and USC, and then you have and then maybe you put Illinois and Indiana in there and everybody else. But the point is that it's a little bit clearer in the Big Ten. The SEC, I don't know what to think of any of these teams, and I felt the same way last year. It's like LSU could have been the best team in the SEC for much of last year. Texas was supposed to be the best team in the SEC this year, but they haven't really proven it out at all, like in the season. So I don't know what to think of any of these teams, and it's certainly possible that the SEC still runs through Georgia. But I feel like the SEC right now is just so up in the air, and I think teams are going to just beat up on each other. I don't think Georgia's going to have a super easy path to the playoff or to the SEC championship game. But yeah, the SEC is just in a weird kind of place.
It is. And, like looking at this game, for instance, I mean, this just kind of shows you that the SEC is going to eat itself alive this year, because I mean, you're gonna have like, even like, I know this is off topic, but Vanderbilt just storming past South Carolina.
Making it look easy.
I can't say any of us saw that coming.
No.
No. So obviously you got to throw Vanderbilt in there now, because that they're looking great too. So they can go in and shock some teams. I mean, I know they play Alabama pretty soon. But this, I mean, I think Tennessee is going to be fine. I think Georgia's going to be fine. It's just, there will be a few games for each of these teams that it's like, maybe when Florida plays each of these teams or something like that, like a game both of them should beat Florida in. Does Tennessee play Florida this year? I don't think they do actually. They do.
No, they do. They play.
Okay.
They play them at Gainesville on November 22nd. So I think that's the week after. I think that's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Or it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving, I think.
Okay. Yep. That checks out. Yeah. So
by the way,
they're just going to eat each other alive.
Right, which that could be a game where, based on where Tennessee is, it could be one of those games that Tennessee needs to stay alive in the conference title race, and they need to win. They need to win that game too.
Well, I think
we were just talking about Texas A&M too. I mean, now all of a sudden, I think you got to throw Texas A&M in this mix as well, because I mean, they just proved that they can hang with the top dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, of all of Tennessee's, and now next week this Saturday they play UAB, so that's.
Yeah, they'll win by like 56.
yeah, they might put up like 60 or 70 points. But of all the teams that they have left, they play Alabama on the road, they play Oklahoma at home, and that might be a difficult matchup because we don't know what Oklahoma is so far this year.
No, we don't.
But they're going to be much better than they were last year. And then they go on the road to play Florida, which I think is going to be a more difficult matchup than you might think.
Florida loves to win a late season game against a team who is trying to make the college
they
football
always
playoff.
do.
Just
They did
completely
it last
derail
year
it.
against Ole Miss.
And
Florida
LSU, honestly.
Don't forget, Florida almost beat Tennessee last year. So
in Knoxville, yeah,
in Knoxville. So Florida, like these late season Florida teams that have nothing to play for, they are more dangerous than you think. And there certainly is possible that Tennessee, like we were talking about Alabama, LSU being a play-in game, the same thing could end up being true in the Tennessee-Alabama game, and Tennessee goes on the road to play Alabama. So that could also effectively be a play-in game. I mean, now a 10-2 Tennessee team, can they get in? And I think it's possible. I mean,
if they did last year 10-2.
They'd probably get in before a 10-2 Notre Dame team.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean,
as they deservingly should.
They'd have to probably win that game against Oklahoma, and you'd have to pick up maybe a win in Alabama, or even Mississippi State's looking like a pretty solid team too right now. So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, honestly, I look at Tennessee's schedule the rest of the way, and if like it was between them and Notre Dame, like it's probably hard to not take them, an SEC team who kind of proved itself that they can win bigger games.
And they would have and they would have more resume wins than Notre Dame would.
Yeah, because Notre Dame, like you were just talking about, they're not out of resume wins, but they missed out on the two big chances.
And the one part that we failed to mention in that last segment is there's a very solid chance based on where USC is that USC may not even be ranked by the time Notre Dame plays them.
Mm-hmm.
They could also be ranked higher. I think there's a good chance USC will still be ranked, but still, it wouldn't be enough for Notre Dame because I think the win against Oklahoma would mean more, and Notre Dame's losses would probably look a little worse. Now, staying in the SEC, and we're speaking of Florida, LSU beat Florida 20-10. Brian Kelly got mad at a reporter about this.
Such a hothead, man. He's so weird.
He is a little bit of a hothead. Now, okay, so you know what? We could, and I did do this on moving the goalpost leftovers, but we got to do it here too. Here's Brian Kelly.
Sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous
to be fair,
question.
this is rage baiting.
And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give him some respect instead of micro analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous for a group of seasoned reporters. That kind of question is so out of line.
I can't even say he's necessarily wrong in what he was saying because, like, they obviously did win the game, but I don't know if that's the way you got to handle that question. I mean, I feel like there's a more respectful way to do it, but that reporter was kind of being a smart ass.
He was, which I think was the majority reaction of most people. Like, some people believe that the reporter was doing his job, which to an extent he was, but it was simply the way he framed the question. That's all. That's all it is. I guarantee you, if he framed it a different way with a little bit more of a positive spin, he doesn't go off on him like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, the thing is, I understand both sides of this to an extent, but I will say the report, first of all, I very much agree with Brian Kelly's side on this in a lot of ways, because he's like, hey, man, look, people have been saying, the media has been saying about me that I can never win the big game. And it's like, you know what? We won the game, and that's what matters. We took care of business. And he's 100% right about that. Like, look, you always say I can't win the big game. You're upset. You're upset when I lose. You're upset when we win. Like, what do you want from me? And he's right, because that's what matters. So it matters is that they won the game, and it's not going to – and that's really all that matters. The flip side is – and also I will say the reporter struck me as a little bit like – I wouldn't say, I don't know if unprofessional's the right word, but struck me as a little bit inexperienced, because usually that's not how a reporter would frame a question after a win. Like, it's not like you would think with that question, leading with that question, it would be after LSU lost to Florida or something like that. Like that's what you would think. And I very much understand Brian Kelly's perspective. The flip side is, I will say, from the reporter's perspective, it's not a crazy unfair question in the sense that, like, Brian Kelly was making it out, was saying that the question was out of line. The question wasn't out of line. It was a football question.
It's a football
question.
It was just a bad selected question, especially to lead off with.
You could have totally found a way to reword it differently, so it's made it sound like, yeah, you guys won the game and you were able to get around this problem, but how can you address this moving forward so that it doesn't inhibit you from winning a bigger game potentially?
Yeah, that's a totally
like when Alabama, when you play Alabama, or when you play Texas A&M or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's a totally
there's
different.
a better way to word it for sure. And me being a reporter, like,
and also if it's not, or you could have said something like, look, the defense played great, and the defense is how you won this game. How would you address the problems, the struggles, the offensive struggles moving forward? And I don't think Brian Kelly would have been so mad at that question.
And if he gets mad at that, then it's like, whoa, calm down there, big shot. Let's take it easy.
Yeah, exactly. So it does seem like it was rage bait a little bit, because this reporter knew he would get a reaction like that from Brian Kelly.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, and
it went viral immediately. So,
I
mean, if that was his semi-objective, he did what he needed to do. So I don't know. If that was me in the room, I don't know if I would have asked it, or I would have just framed it in a completely different way if I was in the room.
Yeah, so, I think so.
I would have asked it in a different way for sure.
Yeah, and ultimately, Brian Kelly's kind of right. It was one game. It doesn't mean it's going to go this way every single time. I mean, now I will say it was not a good offensive performance from either team. Like, let's put it this way.
No,
if I had told you,
if
I had told you on last week's podcast that DJ Lagway would throw 5 interceptions, do you think the score would have been 20-10?
No, I would have figured Florida would have gotten blown out by like 35.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a credit to Florida's defense or what it is, because it was just a sloppy game overall. And it's not like LSU's offense was, phenomenal. So that's why it was like a relatively valid question. But at the same time, it's like they won the game, and I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Nussmeier really didn't do a whole lot, and
no, he didn't.
But I mean, Durham's average got raised up because of that last rush that he was talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I think that just generally speaking, it was not a question that had to be asked in that way.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, you don't even have to ask it. There's a good chance Brian Kelly would have just brought it up himself. Like, yeah, we had
Probably
some
not.
troubles on offense today.
I mean, I didn't listen to the full press conference. I only saw that clip, but I don't know if he did mention it at all. It sounded like
what I'm saying is that even if he didn't, there's a good chance Brian Kelly would have brought it up himself. That we got to run the ball better. He would have like sort of subtly brought up. We got to improve a little bit.
Right.
And I'm just
because coaches do that. Yeah.
I'm not a believer. I don't think reporters should rage bait like that. I think reporters should be respectful in their questions,
Absolutely.
especially after a
100%.
win. It's like, for Christ's sake, they won, and that's what matters.
I mean, I can safely say that Zain and I never asked Brett Bielema a question like that when we were reporting on an Illinois win.
Yeah.
Forever Power 5 is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show.
All right, so let's get into picks for the week. Auburn at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's giving 6.5. Over-under is 47.5. I'll go to you, Zain.
Yeah, I like the over in this game. I don't want to touch a team. I just think that this game has so many high stakes attached to it to where I think there's little room for error. It's early in the season, and I just see this being air raid. So give me the over 47.5.
Go ahead.
I'm all over the Sooners and all over the over. I just think this is too much geometry. This is too much Oklahoma offense. I'm not a big believer in Auburn. I think they're being overhyped right now. Obviously, I mean, looking at the win against Baylor, that's looking a little bit better because Baylor's really kind of emerging right now, and Sawyer Robinson's looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the country for Baylor. But yeah, I'm still not a huge believer in Auburn. So I'm all over the Sooners in this one. And I think it's going to be, like Zain said, an air raid fest. So I could totally see Oklahoma win this game like 45-30 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch the over-under, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma here. I think Oklahoma looks much better than they did last year, not to mention they're playing at home.
Much better. The addition of John Mateer has been so huge. I mean, he has been so good for them so far.
Yeah. So, headed over to the Big Ten. Michigan minus 2.5 at Nebraska, over under 45.5. I'm going to go with Michigan and the under in this game. This to me strikes me as a classic Big Ten game, and I like Michigan a little better than Nebraska this year. I think Michigan's going to have a little bit of I think they have a lot of momentum. I think Michigan's going to have a little bit of I don't know, like a comeback year this year. I think Michigan is going to look better than they did against Oklahoma. So I'm going to take Michigan to cover the 2.5, and I'll take the under.
Well, what do you think? And then I'll go last.
I like Nebraska to win this one outright. I understand what you're saying about like Michigan kind of emerging since the Oklahoma game, but Bryce Underwood's going into another really tough road environment, and I know that was his first road environment against Oklahoma, but he hasn't had one since. So, yeah, sure, you can light up Central Michigan, but it's Central Michigan. Like, you're supposed to do that. Yeah, I think that Nebraska's system has really improved. Matt Rule is continuing to improve this team week by week. I'm not sure why Michigan is favored in this game at all, to be honest. I really thought it was going to be the other way around with the spread. And I still would have picked Nebraska.
I think the one reason is because Nebraska's on an 18-game losing streak against AP top 25 teams. Right.
They are, but this is the week they're going to break it. I just don't. I'm not a crazy Michigan believer just yet. And I think that they definitely have something there right now, but I think it's too early in the season for this to be the game where it's like, okay, Bryce Underwood is here. This is Michigan losing here, in my opinion. And I expect a pretty low scoring game. So it's a pretty low number though. I'm going to say Nebraska wins, and I'm going to actually take the under here. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
All right.
Yeah, I loved this game. I think this game isn't getting as much love as it should.
It's not. It's not.
I actually like Nebraska to cover, but I actually think that Michigan wins this game by 1. I think Bryce Underwood makes one more throw than Dylan Raiola does, and I actually think that Michigan comes from behind to win. But I think Nebraska that's enough to please the bettors, and I think they keep it extremely close. And I think it's one of those games where Rule's going to look back on it. He's going to look at the tape, and he's going to kick himself, saying, if we had just made this 1 third down call here, or this 1 second down call here, he win the game. But I actually think that Michigan continues Nebraska's losing skid against AP top 25 teams, but they don't do enough to cover over the spread. And so I'm just going to say comfortably that I think that Nebraska covers the number.
All right, so you're a Matt Rule believer.
Mhm.
All right, so Notre Dame.
House rule.
Yeah, Notre Dame is giving 24.5 versus Purdue. Over under is 54.5. I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame hits the over by themselves. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either. After their offensive performance against Texas A&M, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Like, people were talking, like, everybody wants to talk about CJ Carr, the quarterback, and all that, but, like, I don't know, man. He threw for almost 300 yards. Is the problem really the offense? And they also gave up 40. Like, they scored 40 points and lost. And you're going to tell me the problem is the quarterback? I think that's a little ridiculous. Anyway, I love Notre Dame here, and I love the over. Like I said, they might hit the over by themselves. Notre Dame is a complicated team. They give you, like I said, they're the team that crams for the test. They're the team that they give you a reason to believe that their season is over. And then the next week, they basically give you a reason to believe the opposite. And likely for the rest of the season, they might give you a reason to believe the opposite. Notre Dame is going to kill Purdue here. They win by 4 touchdowns or more. I think, and like I said, I like the over. I think they might end up hitting the over by themselves. So I'm going with Notre Dame here.
Well, what do you think?
You know, this is like Nick said, Notre Dame is a really complicated team, and it would be very Purdue-like to keep this close for some reason. But Purdue is they're just so bad.
They're not the team they used to be.
No, they're not. Like, you always had those years with the spoiler makers where they would go like 7-5 in a year, and one win would be against like Ohio State or Michigan or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, I do like their head coach, Odom. I do think that he's going to bring back the program a little bit to what, I mean, it just like the normal decent that it is. But this is still a growing pains year. I will say Ryan Brown, their quarterback last week, he actually didn't play terrible against USC.
I like him, actually.
Yeah.
I think he has potential.
He does. But I think this is just a Notre Dame bounce back game, man. I mean, it's so hard for me to think that Purdue is going to go into a road environment and hang with Notre Dame after Notre Dame is probably going to play so pissed off after being 0-2. So Notre Dame responds in a big way. I think it's Notre Dame spread, and it's the over for me.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative and just take the over because unlike you two, I'm hesitant to see which Notre Dame team shows up. And I'm not saying that I'm a very Odom believer, but what I can tell you is after watching his press conference this week, I think the last thing that people should be assuming is that Purdue is just going to go in there at home and lay down for Notre Dame. They won't. They'll keep it.
No, they won't at all.
They'll keep it. They'll keep it competitive for at least a half, probably. So and then their defense will gas, and then they'll find a way to lose the game. But yeah,
I just see a lot of Carter Greathouse in this game, and I think that Jeremiah Love's going to have a field day.
Yeah. Well, he had 27 touches last game. All right. Florida at Miami. Miami's giving 7.5.
If Lagway throws 3 interceptions, Florida's a chance to be in this game.
I got to tell you. Yeah, it's so true. I really like Florida here to cover the 7.5. It's an extra half a point that is really tempting to me. But let's not forget, Notre Dame
defense is still very good.
Let's not forget, Florida only lost 20-10 when DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions against LSU. Their defense looked pretty ironclad. And if their defense looks similar to the way like you said, if they throw 3 interceptions, they could be in the game. And I think that's true. Like DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions last game. Well, and they were still kind of in that game against LSU until that pick 6 at the very end. So, DJ Lagway.
Totally,
So the point is, Florida was in that game when DJ Lagway had 4 interceptions on the road at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Is it crazy to think that they're going to be in this game at Miami in a rivalry game? I don't think it's that crazy. Like I said, Florida tends to play up to their competition. They didn't last year at this time. That's because they had against Miami because they had a weird sort of quarterback situation. But the quarterback situation is a little better now. It says something when their quarterback situation is better when the guy throws 5 interceptions. But Florida tends to play up to their competition. It's a 7.5-point spread. Not to mention, this is not just about Florida. And, Florida's very good, and Florida's defense. You also have to look at Miami. Who's their head coach? Mario Cristobal. Who blows games? Who lets teams hang around worse than Mario Cristobal does?
He does.
I mean, I think that DJ Lagway will throw a whole bunch of interceptions, and I think he'll throw 3 interceptions, I could see, and Mario Cristobal will still somehow keep Florida in the game. I could see that happening too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys. I think you guys are. I think you guys are going based off past history, and I simply think that Miami being.
No, I haven't gone yet, Zan. You haven't heard what I have to say yet. You're just disagreeing with Nick for now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll let you go ahead.
No, you were going.
I was just keep going.
No,
I was saying you guys. I was just saying you're disagreeing with Nick for now, not just me yet.
I sure. Yeah, I like Miami conservatively here to cover the spread. Even though Florida was able to stay in the game against LSU, I just think that Miami is simply the better team, and they're simply on a mission to prove that they aren't a pushover in the ACC. And I know that this is a cross conference matchup, SEC versus ACC, but I think Miami is going to be there to make a statement and at home on national TV that they're for real. And I think that Florida probably still believes that they have some life left in them somehow. And I think that Miami, in my opinion, we should be able to comfortably cover the number. And if they don't, kind of similar to what you guys have sort of already alluded to already. I know William and Glania, but it seems to me like even if Florida does cover, I wouldn't be surprised. I just simply think that Miami's the better team, and I just think the whole Billy Napier effect. There's just too many question marks that I simply don't like. And as we alluded to a week ago, Florida's schedule from here gets harder and harder and harder. And I think a really long losing streak could be on the horizon starting this week. So,
yeah, I am. I'm with you guys. I'm with both of you guys in a sense. So I'm with Nick in the sense that I think Florida is going to find a way to keep this game unnecessarily competitive. Okay. It's going to be like a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. It might be like 21-17, something like that. And then Miami, it's a backdoor cover because DJ Lagway makes a silly mistake down the stretch that leads to Miami covering that 7.5.
Oh,
so I think
okay.
I think this is a game that is very competitive until DJ Lagway makes a silly mistake. And I'll say this: DJ Lagway is like a college football 26 quarterback. Like you're just hoping that a receiver might catch it, and if he doesn't, it's going to get picked off. Because I sometimes I'm out playing college football 25 and I'm throwing 5 interceptions in a game. So I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's a silly mistake by Florida at the close to the end of the game that Miami's able to capitalize on, and Miami's able to do a little backdoor cover. Over under. I'm not confident enough on either side, so I'll just go Miami with the number.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say because with all the interceptions DJ Lagway throws, that's going to.
I mean, part of me says under,
but.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, part of me says under, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Illinois, Indiana. I'll let one of you guys go first. I don't know, fight over it.
Well, you want to go? You want to go?
Yeah, I can lead us off here. So I'll say this about both sides. Indiana, very good football team, has not played anyone yet. This is their first true opponent of the season. They have not played anyone yet. Illinois has already gone in a road environment and got a massive win and forced 5 turnovers in a win. Granted, there are the people who say, oh, but Illinois was outplayed by Duke. I don't care. You force 5 turnovers. That doesn't matter if you outplay them. You won the game by 26 points. Mm-hmm. So Illinois had a huge win on the road against Duke and knows what it takes. Granted, it was not really a true road environment. There was like hardly any people there. There might have been more orange and blue in that stadium than Duke fans. But I look at this game and I think this is a game that could determine a college football playoff spot for one of these two teams potentially. Because I think that if Indiana were to win this, the rest of their schedule is pretty favorable for them, like it was last year, that they could make the playoff at like a 10-2 or something like that. If Illinois wins this game, very similar situation. So I just think based off the fact that Indiana is a relatively new team with a new system, Fernando Mendoza has not played anyone truly competitive yet. They're at home, but they haven't played anyone yet. They haven't seen a Big Ten team yet. Illinois knows what it takes to win on the road. Illinois is going to get this win on the road. I feel very confident that with a solid core, that with a healthy core, that a team that knows how to play together and a more seasoned quarterback in Luke Altmaier than Fernando Mendoza, I think Illinois, it's very similar to what Nebraska was last year for Illinois. I think this is a game that the Illini win very close. And I think it's kind of an air raid fest too. I think it's a high scoring game that Illinois wins close. I could see like a 31-28 type of deal. So I'm going Illinois to win outright, and I'm going over.
Okay. Hey, and the over kind of snuck up on me there, but I could see it as well. So I'll obviously go on this one. Kind of piggybacking off of what you're saying, Illinois does have a true road win. Indiana is yet to play anyone, and I simply just take a look at the coaching matchup here. Do I trust a guy that's won a bunch of Big Ten championships in the past, or do I trust a coach in Kurt Signetti that even though he has gotten his feet wet a little bit, he hasn't truly gone through the trenches like Brett Bielema has. And I think that that's something major to look at here. I also think, and this is something that I don't think has been mentioned on the show, I just simply think this line is disrespectful. If people go back and do their research, Illinois is covered in every single one of their games. You mean to tell me that Indiana is 4.5 wins better than a team that already has a win against an ACC team, and Indiana hasn't played anybody? What are we doing here?
I'll say this, Zan. I think that's just because of the fact that Vegas sees us as very even opponents, and they're just giving Indiana a home spread.
Yeah, but if it's an even opponent, why is the spread not 2.5? Why is it not 1.5? Why does it have to be 4.5? It's crazy.
Fair.
Doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I mean, Vegas isn't saying Indiana's that much better than Illinois. They're saying they're maybe.
They're saying they're pretty damn equivalent.
Vegas is saying they're pretty close. It's not that disrespectful because you have to take into account the 2.5 points they're getting. They're basically saying they're like 2 points better than Illinois. So it's not that crazy. Now, in terms of my pick, I like Illinois to cover the spread, and I like the over. I think this is going to be a not-so-classic Big Ten game. Both of these are very good offensive teams.
Last time we played, the final score is 48-45.
Yeah, Kurt Signetti built a really good offense with this Indiana team. I don't think Indiana is going to be the Cinderella team that they were last year. I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit, but I think Illinois I think Illinois covers the spread, and I could see it being like I could almost see it being like a similar type of score to the Notre Dame A&M game.
Yeah.
Probably not that high, but I could see it being like I could see the score being something like 30-27, something like that.
Yeah,
it could very easily happen.
Zan, your pick was the Illini, right?
Yep.
Okay.
+4 now.
Did you touch the over/under?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't know if I heard you pick that.
All right. So finally, Staying in the Big Ten. Michigan State at USC. USC is giving 18.5, over under 56.5. I got to tell you, I love USC here. I love USC. I think USC is going to have a little bit of a comeback year. I don't trust Michigan State at all. I think USC is – look, their team is – the difference between last year's team and this year's team is just night and day with USC. Jaden Mayava is a much
You're a
better
believer, huh,
quarterback.
Nick?
What's that?
You're a believer, huh?
I'm a believer. I'm a believer for now. I like USC's offense. They revamped their whole roster. Jaden Mayava has looked really good so far. I like USC here. I think USC will probably finish the season ranked, and I think they might come close to they might even come close to a playoff spot this year. I love USC here, and I really just have no faith in Michigan State.
Well, what do you think?
Michigan State's a revamped team. They are 3-0, but they've been tested by like Boston College at home.
Yeah.
USC is just so confusing to me because like
USC is really confusing. Really
because the thing is like the game they just played against Purdue where they won, what was it, 33-17?
33-17.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I get that Purdue was at home and they kept that like closer than it probably should have been. But USC just found ways to put them away. And granted, they made Ryan Brown turn over the football a few times. But USC at home is a compelling pick here because I do think Michigan State's better than they've been. I do think Aiden Childs is a more developed quarterback than he has been in the past. And
he certainly is. This is a team that late in the year could sneak into a bowl game with 6 or 7 wins.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I for sure agree with that. But you know what? This might come back to bite me, but I think that Michigan State's going to keep it closer to 18.5. I think USC is going to win this somewhere between like 13 and 17. So I think that USC is going to play up most of the game. But Michigan State, it could be like a backdoor cover, honestly, too, for Michigan State. Like they might just have like a go for it in every fourth down type of drive where they're down by 24 and score a touchdown to make it a 17-point win and have it be just an awful beat or something like that. But yeah, I think Michigan State's going to keep it closer than 18.5. So I'll go with Sparty here, and I'm going to go the under.
I just strictly like the under, and that's it. I can't really trust either of these two teams. And you're asking Michigan State to go cross country, which body clock time is 11 p.m. Eastern, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
So weird.
A ridiculously late start time for a Big Ten college football game. I never thought I'd be saying that. And I just think this USC offense, when they're on, they're almost unstoppable. And I actually just see this over hitting easily, but I don't think that USC is nearly 19 points better than Michigan State, but I'm not going to go that far. So I'm just going to say with confidence that I think the over should be able to be comfortably hit, in my opinion.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to change my pick to the over too. I just thought about it. I don't know why I'm picking the under here. This is too dynamic offense. I'm switching my pick to the over.
There you go.
All right. I didn't touch it. So, all right, that's our show this week. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Zain Bando. That's Will Charlton. This is another edition of Forever Power 5. Follow us across social media on Twitter and Instagram at FP5ETB and at Forever Power 5 on TikTok. No spaces or capitals. Follow the Empty the Bench Network across social media at ETB Network and watch all Empty the Bench shows on YouTube.com/ETB Network. So see you guys next week.
Enjoy week 4 of college football, folks.
Have a good one.